Underwriting deals is such a major pain point for people. Most don't want to do it, and the people that are good at it are few and far between. That is why after 6 years of being in the industry and buying over 1,200 apartments, using my best-selling multifamily deal analyzer, I created Real Estate Lab, a full suite acquisition software for multifamily investors. We have built a product that helps investors automate their acquisitions and close more deals, all in a cloud-based platform. You can go to realestatelab.com and sign up today using the promo code TAG2 for 10% off your first 12 months. This is David Tupin. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to The Apartment Gurus, where twice a week, host Tate Siemer brings you deep dive interviews with the wisest gurus in the apartment investing industry. These experts are sure to create game-changing value and inspiration designed to catapult your business to the next level. Be sure to reach out to Tate at www.investwithgreenlight.com for access to his investor portal and Calendly link. And now, here is Tate Siemer and the Apartment Gurus.
Welcome, everybody, back. Another episode of the Apartment Gurus coming at you. And today's going to be a kind of a unique episode in the history of the Apartment Gurus / the Apartment Guys podcast. We have really only had teams on once or twice, and I don't know that I've ever had partners on, like a set of yes, I take that back. I have, but just once. So it's really cool. Most of the guests on the show are individuals that have a lot of expertise and experience in the field. Some are special agents in the field, lenders, insurance agents, that sort of thing, brokers. But today we've got Christopher and Ashton Levarek of Valkere Investment Group, based out of Phoenix, Arizona, on the show. And they are a team that formed Valkere 4 years ago in the fall of 2018. So coming up on almost exactly 4 years, guys. And Christopher is a former firefighter in the U.S. Air Force, and holds an IT leadership role in the banking industry, and now is a full-time real estate investor and co-founder of Valkere with Ashton. So basically, Valkere partners with W-2 earners and fellow investors to achieve more choices and opportunities through real estate investing. His experience includes single-family residential acquisitions, private lender loans, joint ventures, and multifamily real estate and syndications. Chris is a published author. It's very cool. Active on Bigger Pockets, writes blog posts, and is a forum contributor on Bigger Pockets, and has been featured on multiple podcasts, including The Best Ever Show, Military Cash Flow, and Military to Millionaire, and which I love that name. And lives in Phoenix with his wife Jamie, two sons Christopher and Julian. Plays guitar, as do I. That's awesome. And spends time with his family and reading in his spare time. And then Ashton also has his background in the Air Force, Air Force Special Operations pararescue jumper, and holds a BS in sports health and science, and founded Valkere with Christopher. So Ashton acts as the network facilitator and acquisitions lead for Valkere. So you're kind of out front steering the ship with your relationships and your deals. It sounds like, Ashton. And then he's passionate about building a team of investors that are like-minded, opportunity-minded, focused on creating equity, passive income, and generational wealth for everyone involved. He's action-oriented and results-focused, and brings 20 years of special ops experience, to bear on the investment market, and has been featured on most of the same shows as Christopher, and is also married, father of 2 little girls. So that's kind of cool. You have 2 boys, Christopher, and Ashton has 2 little girls. Is it Kaylana and Alaya? Am I saying
Alayla.
Alayla?
Yeah.
Yep, got it.
Don't worry, they don't listen.
And he resides in Portland, Oregon. He plays rugby, travels, and teaching his girls to surf. It's an awesome sport. So guys, welcome to the show. It's really cool to have you on as a team, as a partnership, and I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Thank you so much, Tate. Always a pleasure.
Good to be here.
So
yeah, you bet. So Christopher, I'm going to hand it off to you if you wouldn't mind giving us a little more background on you personally, and then especially Valkere, and if you guys are thinking Levarek, their last name, Ashton and Christopher's last name, Levarek, they took the same letters, very creative, from Levarek and came up with Valkere, which I love. And Valkere is spelled Valkere. For those of you looking to Google it, I recommend that you do if you're listening. Valkere Investment Group. So, yeah, Christopher, if you would just kind of start us off and share a little bit about you guys and kind of how you came to be.
Sure. Yeah. So thank you for that intro. It's been a journey. It's been 4 years that we started this company, but of course, me and Ashton have known each other for a while. We're brothers.
Yep.
And yeah, where did we start? I think went to college myself. I did a year, and then I went to Europe. I did 2 years of college in Europe, south of France, and enjoyed that time there. Then I joined the military, became a firefighter, did 4 years, great experience, got out, did an IT career after that. I just recently got out of that job. I was in for about 12 years in IT, and I've been full-time in this business ever since March of this year. But we started back in 2018, focused primarily on small multifamily. It was something that we heard was a lot better and easier to do than single family and more cash flow and that kind of thing. And so we started small multifamily in North Carolina. We scaled into larger and larger deals with partners in Texas and Florida. And then we ultimately started into vacation rentals as well. And we have those now in Arizona, Florida, and North Carolina. And we still do the large multifamily with partners as well. So it's been a journey. We're about a size about 9 people now, and 4 of us are all family, but the other 5, they're as good as family. They work with us, and 3 from the Philippines. So we're international now, and it's been a journey. It's been a lot of fun though.
We're international too. I never thought of us that way, but we have a Filipino VA that does our design work. And then we have a British guy that lives in Mexico that works for us.
Boom.
So
Nice.
yeah, super fun. But so okay, so before I want to ask you a few questions, but before I do that, Ashton, you have anything to add to the origin story of Valkere?
Anything to add? Christopher kind of wrapped it up. I mean, we both came to it organically. We were looking for something else. I didn't want to get another job after I got out of the military, because God bless the military, was one of the best experiences of my life. Took up most of my adult life, obviously. But you come out of there with not much, you get a pension, and it's like $2,500 a month, and you can't support a family on that. And so you're forced to get another job or figure something else out. So, when Christopher came to me talking about the real estate, it was, it just clicked. And, there's more to that story, but, we can get into that later. I think, it's been a fun ride, and we're really enjoying it. And that's what's helped us accelerate the whole thing, is, working with people we trust and we love, and, really coming up with a plan, staying focused, and there's so much more to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Christopher, it sounds like you kind of inspired Ashton on the real estate side of things. What was your inspiration in real estate? Was there a book that you read or a podcast you heard, or something like that kind of planted
Money
the
you
seed?
lost.
Money you lost.
Yeah, well, actually, coincidentally, a little bit of both. It's I used to have a 45-minute commute one way, and definitely started listening to some Bigger Pockets podcasts originally, which is probably why I contribute a lot to that forum. I enjoy giving back, and there's a lot of wealth of knowledge in there. But yeah, the book on rental properties by Brandon Turner was one of the first ones I read that really kind of gave me the full picture of what it could be like to be a property owner. And Ashton had some exposure through some of his network to real estate. And we kind of almost, at the same time decided it was a good venture. But again, in 2018, coincidentally enough, they were tightening the federal rate like they're doing right now. And except they didn't have the guts to see it through. So, but what it did was it made the stocks dive, and of course, ultimately made my 401k dive. So I lost like $7,000 within 2 weeks, and I was kind of like, what the heck, man? I don't have a lot in here anyway, but I'm putting 10% of my salary every paycheck into here, and to see it disappear, that was inspiration to start building another nest egg in another asset, and that turned to be real estate. And so that's kind of where a lot of those inspirations came from to get started.
Yeah, I love it. So talk a little bit about your team. You mentioned having a team. You said 9 of you. So yeah, talk a little bit about your the construction of your team and kind of who does what.
Yeah, sure. So we're big on roles and accountability. We follow the traction model, and that's it's a book called Traction, but it's big on building companies. And part of it is, knowing your role and having accountability for what you're doing. So Ashton really is more a lot on the marketing side, partnership side. And then I do a lot of the operations of the business. So more analytical, more detailed. You could call it an integrator, whereas Ashton might be more of a visionary.
Yeah.
And then my wife is more analytical. She does a lot of the funds, the finances, the legal side of things. And then Ashton's wife does a lot of the property management, property managers, contractors, anything to do with renovations and property management. She's typically hands-on there. But our team, we have a guy who talks to investors, onboards investors, investor services, we call it. He's raising capital. We have two assistants from the Philippines who are kind of like executive assistants, one for Vivian, one for me and Ashton. And then we have an accounting assistant that helps my wife out completely. And then we also have a lady who simply works in investor onboarding. So all to do with onboarding investors on any of our deals, signing the documents, paying distributions, all that kind of thing. And that makes, I believe that's 9. So it's grown slowly into that. Before we used to do it all with 4 people or 3 people, but I like to say once you do your first deal, you can do that. You can kind of wear all the hats, and I wouldn't suggest it, but you can kind of do that. It's once you start to get to like 2 or 3 deals and they're ongoing, and now you have investors in every deal or you have partners in every deal, it's really hard to get pulled in all directions. So you need to start making those sections, those roles.
I bet your parents are proud of you guys, huh?
Hopefully they were proud before we did it too, though.
Yeah, I'm sure they love you unconditionally. But I mean, to build what you guys have built with your team and your wives on board and working, like that's pretty exciting. I would think that they'd be thrilled for you.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know your parents either, so I shouldn't be so presumptuous. So cool. So talk a little bit about your growth. So fall of 2018, you guys got started. What was that first deal like? What size was it, and how'd you get it done?
Yeah, it was it was in Durham, North Carolina. So I was actually stationed down at Fort Bragg, which is about an hour and a half away. We knew there was a lot of growth there. There's the medical services, there's the college, there's a couple colleges, I think. And Raleigh, Durham has seen a ton of growth, and we had heard that, that's good for real estate, right? We've been reading all the books, listening to all the podcasts, and essentially we found a real estate agent, not necessarily a investor friendly real estate agent. She wasn't too familiar with what an investor would look for. Okay. So when we started picking out homes that needed a lot of rehab, she kind of cringed at that. Which, that might have been our first mistake. I suppose it helped us learn definitely in the future. But so we started, looking at all these properties, and I distinctly remember, like listening to a podcast, and a guy he talks about walking into a place and it's a complete dump and it smells like trash. And he turns to his son who's young and he's like, "What does that smell like?" And his son, who'd been doing it with him for a while, was like, "Smells like money, Dad." And I was like, and so we found this fourplex, and I remember walking in there and I'm thinking, like, this place stinks, and there's cockroaches and there's holes in the floor, the toilets in the living room. And I'm like, okay, smells like money. Let's do this, and a wholesaler brought it to our broker, or to our real estate agent. We made an offer, $209,000. It was 2 duplexes. So 4 units, 3 of them were unlivable. One had 3 people in it, but they were all 1 bedroom, 1 bath units. And,
wow.
I think, unfortunately, I think they were illegal, but they so we got it under contract and immediately began to scramble to get everything together. And so a lot of that entailed a lot of talking to different contractors, getting appraisal, all the stuff that goes into buying a house. But we're trying to do it from the standpoint of like, how little can we spend because we wanted to do the BRRRR method. And if you're familiar with the BRRRR method, the whole goal is to refinance at a higher value and get all your capital, your invested capital back. Right.
Yeah.
And so, we estimated $25,000 in rehab, and came out, like, we talked to like 8 different contractors, and the first one said 90,000. And we're like, nah, you're just hustling us, and went to the next one. And it just kept going like that. And I'm like, oh crap, we're going to have to come up with some more money. And I kind of skipped a part too. Christopher, we've been talking to everybody we knew about what we were doing, what we're planning on doing. And coincidentally, there's a gentleman that Christopher had been working with for a while who had some capital, and he wanted to get in real estate. And essentially we put him on the note. He brought 70% loan to value, and we bought the rest. And to do that, you're getting really inventive. We got really creative. We took out HELOCs on our houses. I think we took out money from our retirement plans, took loans against the retirement plans, things like that. So we were able to come up with to close. And then when we needed that extra capital for all the rehab, we were able to cover that as well. We may have even used some credit cards. I can't remember, but
we got a bank loan for 16% for 25K too. I remember.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we were
real
turning
quick, if I could just interject for listeners, this is not something we've talked about much at all on the show, but look, if you have equity in any properties in your house or in any other properties, that is opportunity waiting to happen for you, because you can access that equity. A HELOC is a great way to do it. A home equity line of credit is a great way to do it. It gets you a line of credit like a credit card, so you only pay interest on what you're using at the time, which is key. And it's something that is permanent, is ongoing, right? So it's not just a loan that you pay off, it's an ongoing line of credit. So HELOCs can be extremely, extremely helpful. We build our business using HELOCs ourselves. So yeah, just a quick point for the listeners to take a hard look at the equity you have and see about accessing it.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of capital out there you can use if you get inventive, and we, like I said, we're both very competitive, competing with each other, and we're very, I guess, success oriented. And we were reading every book, listening to every podcast at every second we could.
Cool.
And that's where we got all these ideas. And I'd tell you, we didn't know what we didn't know, but we were doing our damnedest to learn.
Yeah.
So we got the deal done, and we were able to refinance, pull the capital back. return the capital to the investor. So he ended up investing with us in a couple more deals after that, or with us. He still had his equity on that deal, so he's still making cash. He had an infinite return on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And we went on to do a couple more duplexes, a 5-plex, 13, and we kind of had a turning point. Light bulb went off. Like, if we're going to do this, let's do this. Why? I mean, it's the same amount of work for a duplex as it is a 13 unit. How do we go bigger? Where do we get more capital? And we started reading about syndications and raising capital. We were able to raise, I think we closed on a 16 unit as an official syndication, and we can go into the difficult structure, the learning point there, because we did not use a 506C or a 506B, which is most common for a syndication. What was it, a 504 or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, 504.
Yeah, and that's really, yeah, it was new to us too. We'll never do it again. But it came up with its own set of problems. If you have investors, just real quick, if you have investors out of state, they have to go through all this different fees and clearing, making sure they're cleared to invest across states and stuff. It was a mess. And like, we had guys committed and wanted to wire money, but couldn't do it until almost like the day before closing.
Oh, wow.
But first syndication was a 16 unit, 940,000. But and that was, and we were off to the races. I mean, that was all within a year, I think. So closed on that. No. So a year and a couple months, because we closed on that first deal in November or October of 2018. And we syndicated the 16 unit in January of 2020. So just over a year.
Yeah. Where it was in the same market? Or is
the 13 unit and the 16 unit were in Fayetteville. So they're all in North Carolina.
Yeah.
But the rest were up in Durham.
Fayetteville's on the coast?
Fayetteville's down by Fort Bragg. It's a big cash flow market, not a lot of appreciation.
Okay.
You can get some great deals, great burr deals and flips. But you won't see the market appreciation that you'd see in like a bigger city like Raleigh or Charlotte or
Yeah. So you're now up to 100 million in assets under management. So impressive. Just curious, where geographically speaking, are these mostly in North Carolina?
I would make it easier. No, we really started looking, okay. So when we did that 16 unit, I should back up. There was a lot of points there that I skimmed over, and I think they're crucial. If you're building a business, right, you're trying to raise capital. One of the biggest things you have to do is start talking to other people. You start working with other people, building your team, and of course, building your network of investors. And that comes with branding. And so you have to get out there and brand yourself. And as we were doing that, talking about what we were doing, other people came to us, and we've been talking to this guy for maybe 6 months and just networking. And he was a cool guy, friend of a friend, and he was syndicating. And he essentially came to us and was like, "Hey, look, I got some other deals. Would you guys be interested in, coming in and helping out raise the capital and be general partners on these deals?" And the first one he brought to us, I think, was a 250 unit out in Columbus, Ohio. That one fell through, but we ended up getting an 84 unit in Columbus, Ohio. So long story short, by doing that, we slingshotted ourselves into these bigger deals by branding ourselves, building these relationships. And that was pivotal to our growth. So to answer your question, we actually have property in Ohio, in Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and Arizona. So the majority of that, of course, is the multifamily, but then there's 5 Airbnbs as well. We
own 4 properties in Columbus, guys.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's one of our 2 markets. We're in Oklahoma City and Columbus. So I'm from Cincinnati originally, and that's one of the ties that we have there. It's such a great market. Fantastic market to be in. Good for you. What neighborhood is your 84 unit in?
Oh, that was our very first one. I'd have to go double check.
Go check. Well, don't worry about it. I'm just curious. So asset management for you, are you third party management on all your properties?
Except for the Airbnbs.
Yeah. Okay. That's a lot of relationships, because you're in a number of different markets. So you've got to asset manage probably 4 or 5 different teams of property managers, something like that.
Yeah.
A couple of them had the same. We used the same. They were nationally based, so
Yeah.
they could do. I think they were doing one of our Texas ones, the Ohio one, and no, not the Florida one, but yeah, at least two of them. So yeah, definitely, it was a couple.
Have you faced any challenges from that aspect of things, having that many different soldiers out there, marching to your orders, so to speak?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, they can be your best friend, and I would just say don't go cheap. That's what burned us in the first one. We thought we could get a better rate, and it ended up putting bad tenants in there, costing us money and stuff. So
you end up replacing, a partner in your team, the property management, a year later, and that's going to cost you more than if you just took your time and really vetted out and got the best person to job. Even that doesn't work sometimes though. So just being nimble, and really communication's the key to anything. So if you're just communicating, you'll see the problems before they fester.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it, is weekly communication. What's coming up next? What are the goals for the next 30 days? What are the turns for the next 30 days? That kind of thing.
You got to have winning criteria, right? Like, what does it look? What is going to make this, maybe not a home run, but what is this going to make this property a winning property for us?
Right.
And if one of your teammates isn't doing what they should be doing for us, like, we cater to our tenants, of course, and that's the property manager, but we also cater to our investors. Mm-hmm. And a big portion of that is keeping our investors updated and making sure we are a good, I believe the word's fiduciary for their capital. Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that? You have to make sure you're hitting the returns that you promised in the projections, right? That you underwrote in the projections. And so one of the problems we ended up having is the property management company was not performing up to par and was not providing updates, and we'd have to hunt those down, and come to find out they hadn't done the rehab, or they had not even done a background check and just put a tenant in, whatever. So that was a big learning piece for us. It didn't fail. It didn't, crash and burn, but we did have to replace property management.
Yeah, we did that too, guys. In Oklahoma City, we had to fire. We had a property manager managing all three of our properties there, and we had to fire him. And a lot of the same reasons, integrity issues, and just continuity issues like staffing and turnover and all that stuff. And you're so right, Christopher, your point about taking the time to vet the first time around and do a really thorough job, interview as many different people as you can. And I'm definitely not a price shopper on property management. I mean, when you do pick one that you want to go with, you can negotiate and, work with them on their pricing. But I think in a lot of cases, I mean, especially as you get into nicer asset classes, like you really get what you pay for with and that goes for Class C too. I mean, Class C property management is a tough job. I don't know why anybody would want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an easy gig. So awesome, guys. So talk to me a little bit about your goals as far as like where do you see this headed, and and how soon?
Well, the goal initially was to retire from our W-2s. So
done.
Yeah. Yeah. So figuring that out, if a great, book, if you're starting out building your business, I think a great book for that was Profit First. That helped us really structure it and get a real grip on the finances instead of just taking distributions. Now we have people are on W-2 salaries, and we still take distributions when it's necessary, when it makes sense. But just setting that all up. And that was a great book for us. Traction was great for setting up our structure of our company, the EOS, but Profit First.
Who wrote really Traction good. Again? I was trying to think of that earlier.
Wickman.
Yeah, Wickman. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So listeners, Profit First, great book, and then Traction, really great book when it comes to systems and processes. Yeah. Good stuff. Any other books stand out for you guys that were instrumental?
Vivid Vision is really good.
Love it. Sitting right
Yeah,
behind
really
me
like
on my bookshelf. Yeah.
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 What else, Christopher? We read a bunch of syndication books too to
Of
get a
course.
grasp of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more the operational ones. I like the detail-y books a lot. Detail-y books with detail. But Joe Fairless's book, Best Ever book, syndication book's a great one. And then Hunter Thompson, I think, does another good one, mostly around the raising capital side. But if you kind of take those two books, you can really put a syndication together. I think his is Raising Capital for Real Estate.
Yep, that's what it's called. I'm listening to it right now on audio.
And building a brand, building a story brand. My Story Brand by Donald Miller. Absolutely great book for building your whole structure of your website, to how you brand and find your niche, and your avatar. That one is really good as well.
My Story Brand. What was the author's name?
Donald Miller.
Okay, that's a new one to me. Great. Yeah, we'll make some show notes on this and get all these titles in there. So my team who's listening right now is wonderful, and they will do that for me.
Awesome.
So yeah. Cool. What about did you guys have any coaches or mentors along the way that were big for you?
Yeah. Nope. See, so we did the hard way. No, we did not hire a mentor. And mostly I think it's like, I counsel people the other way now too, because you can do it the way we did it, where you make a bunch of mistakes, you kind of learn as you go, and you put your own systems in place, or you can kind of get a head start sometimes with a mentor or a partner who's a little more experienced and get that, leg up already. You don't have to go through everything, and you don't have to know everything too. And that's the big part. What we've figured out is mentoring is key to the game, is key to real estate. Even on our end, as we've got into these bigger properties like the one behind me, our partner does a lot of the asset management. We did more of the raising capital. Mm-hmm. So, we find that it's always nice when you can have the roles divvy out like that. So no, we didn't do mentorships. Just now, though, we are looking at like joining groups and joining masterminds just to expand beyond what we know. And I think that's a big part of mentorships too, is you only know what you know, and you only know what you're exposed to. So by joining a group or joining a mastermind or a mentorship, you can get exposed to a lot more growth or a lot of things you never would have seen. But we never did that in the beginning. So
and mentors can become partners. Mastermind people can become partners as well. Have you guys ever done anything with a mastermind?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm in actually 2 masterminds, and I would personally, I almost think, they say your network is your net worth, right? Yep. But I would even say your self-worth starts first, right? When you think you're worth more, then you go join something like that, and that's where it starts. So as you're looking at these mentorships, as you're looking at these masterminds, you're gonna look at them and you're gonna be like, 10 grand to just hang out with a bunch of people,
right?
But then, or whatever, like some of these mentorships and some of these masterminds, even, they're looking 40, 50 grand for a year. And I would say it's going to change your mindset. Now your self-worth is higher. When you're buying into it, you're making a commitment, and that's different than just talking to the guy on the phone, right? Hey, I heard about you on a podcast. Can I pick your brain? And you're going to pick his brain. He's going to give you a bunch of nuggets. And then what, at some point he's going to tell you to stop calling, first off.
Right. My brain's been picked enough.
Right. Yeah. I've been there. I feel like we all have, but I think the reality is when you get into a room, that's why I like the mastermind. Now we're all equals.
Yeah.
And you start to think of yourself as an equal, and you have this self-worth, that is, you're worth more now, and you're able to, that's that confidence piece. And I love to tell people this, like, people always talk about this analysis paralysis. Well, go out and take action. Confidence is built off of taking action, right? And confidence builds competence. And that's that. Now you can go out and do a deal, and you don't have to know every detail, but you have the confidence that you can overcome it. So I think that's a huge piece when you get around other people like that, whether it's a mastermind or whether it's a mentorship, like you're building that confidence, and it's very beneficial.
Yeah. I remember when we got started, when I really led the charge, and I joined a coaching mastermind, which is an interesting combination with Corey Peterson in Phoenix, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, we know Corey.
Yeah, so the big kahuna himself.
Yeah.
I used to go down to Mesa a lot and hang out with Corey and learn the business from him. And he was generous enough to offer to partner with me if I needed somebody on my credibility kit. In fact, he made my credibility kit, my first one, for me. Cool. So that is massively confidence building. You know, and I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was, it was maybe $4 or $5 grand down, and then $1,000 a month kind of thing. And that included 3 annual events a year, and you know, so, and a bunch of other stuff, a one-on-one day with him, and yeah, I mean, that's when we started going out and writing LOIs under Corey's tutelage, you know, and so it can be very accelerating, but I don't know. I mean, you guys went really fast, or are going very fast, and not in a bad way, in a great way. So
you're scaring me when you say that.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, and you know, to be real, I've definitely interviewed people that have grown faster. I not to burst your bubble, but still, I mean, starting with where you guys started, with the resources that you had and didn't have, it's a really impressive story, guys. Have you done much in the way of like public speaking, presenting about your story at all?
Just on podcasts.
Yeah.
We've probably done near 100 podcasts at this point, but
nice.
Over 4 years, but yeah, not as much. We try to go to conferences, but not as much. Haven't been up in front yet, but
yeah.
I did just do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, what conferences do you like or recommend?
I go to Hunter Thompson's. So he just changed the name. It's called Raise Fest now, but it used to be IREC, Intelligent Investors Real Estate Conference. But I'm going to BP Con October 2nd here. So
cool.
That's going to be a fun one.
Are you going to go to Best Ever in March, I think?
I have not gone to Best Ever yet. It keeps coming up, and I've already registered for like 3 other ones.
Yeah,
we should.
Yeah.
Best Ever is great, and it's here in Salt Lake City this year.
That's right. It is.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll be there, and if you guys are into snowboarding or skiing at all, I'll be taking a group out either the day before or the day after the conference. I'm not sure.
Cool.
Which.
I'll have to look. That's a fun one.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Awesome, guys. Well, in general, I'd like each of you to answer this question kind of in your own way, but I mean, you kind of know the audience, my listener base. We're basically all very interested in growth, right? And growing as efficiently and as well as possible, and also as fast as possible. I mean, to be real. So, you know, a lot of us are starting out in single family and trying to scale into the first deal. A lot of us have done small deals and are moving up into the larger scale stuff. You know, let's start with Ashton. Ashton, what you know, words of wisdom would you have for the listener in that situation?
Yeah, you know, I think it's huge to be clear about what you want. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times when entrepreneurs start out, it's like, I want freedom. And that could be a number of different things, right? And so then they get into real estate and they're like, okay, I can flip homes, but I really want to get into syndications. But they really haven't clarified what they want out of that. Right. Yeah. So they're going to start with one, then they're going to move to another. So they're like perfecting all these systems, spending a lot of time spinning their wheels, doing one thing when their ultimate goal is passive income. Right.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, that's typically where people want to go. and not to go into that, but really what I wanted to say is I think clarity and focus is one of the biggest problems, especially for entrepreneurs starting out. There's so many shiny objects, right? Oh, there's this strategy and that strategy and this strategy. I think it's very clear, and it's important for you to have that clarity across your team. Mm-hmm. So you have to have that. You have to write out a vision for you, and there has to be a timeline, and everybody on the team has to be behind that. And traction was very good for us. It clicked for Christopher and I because, well, for me anyway, for the military, anytime we execute a mission, we look at the end state. What is the end state that we want to reach, right? And we backwards plan from there. I want this much income within 3 years so that I can quit my W-2. Okay, so what does that look like? How many people do I need to hire? Who do I need to partner with? What kind of assets are we talking about? Because if you're saying I want passive income and you can start doing flips or Airbnbs, I'm going to tell you right now, that is not passive at all.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah. So, and even syndications, everybody's like, I want to get in passive income. I want to do syndication. I'm going to tell you that is not passive. You have to get out, talk to investors. You got to talk to brokers. You got to underwrite deals. You got to find deals. There's a lot that goes into it, and we're definitely not at that passive piece yet. But for us, we identified like, oh, well, we do want to get that passive income. So if we can get really good at identifying good partners and good deals, good markets, then by the time we build up that capital that we can invest and create the passive income we want, we have that whole system figured out. Mm-hmm. And so we got really good at the capital raising side. So now we've gotten really good at identifying good partners, identifying good markets, and identifying good asset classes. And essentially we've stayed in the apartment buildings, but there's others too. But all I'm saying is like, you have to have that clarity. You have to commit to that vision, and then start taking action. And the clearer you get, the more action you take, that clarity just keeps getting refined and refined and refined. Yeah. And action gets easier and easier. Like, you'll know, it just comes up. I am working so hard on finding deals that I have no time to raise capital. Okay, so we need to find somebody to either raise capital or find deals. You see what I'm saying? So like, you have to be clear about what you're good at, what you want out of life, what you want out of this plan, and give yourself a timeline and get your whole team on board.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I mean, know thyself, right? Like, it's so key. And as an entrepreneur, it's everything. So having clarity about where you're headed. You can't go where you want to go if you don't know where that is, right? Right. So what about you, Christopher?
Same question. Same. Yeah. Know your strengths, know what you're good at, and then focus on people who are strong in other areas. A big part for us was trying to know everything. We thought we had to do everything, know everything. And it's so funny. You don't try to be good at legal documents. You go hire a lawyer, but then you're going to go buy a real estate property by yourself and do everything by yourself. It's the same principle. Go partner with an expert in the area, or get someone who has a little bit of expertise or loves doing acquisitions or talking to brokers or finding deals, and you go maybe find capital. Yeah. But you don't have to do everything. You don't have to know how to put up a drywall, to buy a real estate property. You just have to know how to find someone who does. Yeah. And that's a big part, I think, for new investors, is you don't have to do everything. Just talk a lot about what you're doing with a lot of people, know your strengths, and know your position in the deal. And you can scale really, really quickly.
Yeah. You guys really dig working together, don't you? I can tell.
Yeah.
we clashed.
Do.
I was going to say, did you ever drive each other nuts? Like, yeah. Well, my partner and I drive each other nuts too, and we're not related. So,
I'm definitely I'm definitely more detailed, and he's definitely more big picture. So he just comes in with all these ideas, and I'm like, dude.
So he drives you nuts.
Stay focused.
Ashton drives Christopher nuts. Christopher's the one kind of putting the brakes on here and there, checking you out. Yeah, I get it. I know this. Yeah. I know this game well. Yeah. I'm definitely the visionary, and Carl, my partner, is definitely the tactician. No question about it. But it's
You
really
need
fun.
those.
Yeah, you do. And there's nothing. I mean, they're both great, right? You need both of them, and one without the other is it's pretty tough. So, well, guys, you guys have an awesome story, and where's all this headed? Like, what do you want to see happen here in the next few years, or what do your goals look like?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot going on right now. We're launching a course on how to buy vacation rentals. So really excited to see that. We're joining some of the education realm. We're not quitting doing deals though. We did 4 vacation rentals this year alone and 2 syndications in multifamily. We have another one lined up for this quarter potentially. We're launching a fund, a 506c fund. So that's a whole nother effort that we're leaving our Q4 open. But by the time this comes out, it'll probably be active, and it'll be nice to have some more power and control on how we are going into certain investments and protecting our network and that kind of thing. So that's where it's growing to, and to be able to continue, offering awesome investment opportunities, but also growing our team. I think it became almost not just about real estate and about quitting your job anymore. Now it's about building a really fun business.
Yeah.
Which that creeps up on you. You got to watch it. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. We're looking for more people to join in and have fun.
Nice. I like it. Lastly, guys, what's the best way for listeners to reach you?
ValkereGroup.com, VALKERE group.com. We got a ton of content, over 240 blogs I've written personally. And just all our podcasts are on there, and you can contact us and reach out and connect.
Yeah.
You can also check us out we're on social media, and I mean, we're on all 4 or 5 I don't know how many platforms there are now, but there's quite a few. We're on 4 of them anyway. We put out a lot of free content, both educational and fun, and just having a blast with it. And we love working with other people. We have an affinity for veterans, obviously, but that's just part of our background. That's why.
Sure.
Yeah. We actually, every deal we do, we cut out a piece, and it goes towards 2 nonprofits. One of them's veteran related, and one's to fight sex trafficking. So,
wow.
Those are kind of like little passion projects we do on the side. You can see by Christopher's answer, he's very detailed. He's talking about everything that's making it happen. So, but I mean, ultimately, the goal is to make a difference, right? The goal is to live your best life. And, there's more to that. And we set up retreats for our team, our family, and everything, and in our Airbnbs. And, it's cool. Life by
Company
design,
perk.
right?
Where are the Airbnbs?
We have Sedona, Arizona, Surf City, North Carolina, and then Kissimmee, Florida, which is Disney World area.
Yeah. Love Sedona. I love Sedona. I've been there just once, but I loved it.
It's beautiful.
Cool. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I've been there twice. Yeah. It's a great place. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your story and your wisdom with us. I got a lot out of this. You guys are a lot of fun, and I can tell you love what you do, which is so important in this space. That's really a common thread through all of my guests that I find is people that want to come on a show like this and talk about what they do typically love what they do. And I feel very blessed to get to talk to people like that all the time. So, guys, if there's ever anything that we can do for you, we'd love to be a part of your success, and hopefully cross paths with you at one of these conferences. One of the national conferences. I'm not going to get to BP Con, unfortunately, but I think I need to look into Hunter Thompson's gig. So I'm gonna do that.
We're going next year.
Okay.
So, it's in Kentucky.
Right. Oh, good.
That's right.
Be cool.
Yeah. Flying to Cincinnati. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks again. Really appreciate you, and wish you guys all the best.
Awesome. Thanks, Tate.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Listeners, thank you. We love you guys. We're so grateful that you listen to each of these, and that you listen to the end. That shows that you're learning and you're engaging in this stuff, and you're taking people like Christopher and Ashton's story, and you're being inspired by it, you're learning from it, and that's rocket fuel to your career. It's not everything. Action is so key, but the specialized knowledge piece is big. So great job hanging with us and listening to another episode. And we're doing 2 a week now, so we're getting lots of content out. And so we'll see you in a few days on the next episode of the Apartment Gurus. Take care, everybody.
This has been the Apartment Gurus with Tate Siemer. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. To contact Tate, go to www.investwithgreenlight.com for access to his investor portal and Calendly link. He loves to hear from you and thanks you for being a valued listener. Just a reminder that you are the guru. See you on the next episode of the Apartment Gurus.